My story began back when I was a little girl. I went through some abusive issues with a babysitter, sexual abuse, and brought on this feeling of the way you have, or the way you love and the way you're loved was through sex. And found myself losing my virginity at 10 years old because that's the way I knew how to love, and became very sexually active. But the underlying thing was that I had this big emptiness in me. So obviously the sex kind of wore off, and I was introduced to drugs when I was 12. And by the time I was 14, I was selling drugs and doing drugs on a daily basis. And got married at 7, got pregnant. Came up pregnant, which was a saving grace because I quit doing the drugs. I was 17. And so I had my son, and that all wore off. That thrill and that newness wore off, and I moved on, and I left his dad and met another guy and married him and had 2 kids with him. And over the years started back into the drugs and drinking and you know, just searching for things to fill that void. And that wore off, so I moved on from him. But in the process of that divorce, I had 3 kids living in 3 separate homes. It split my family up completely. And I had a son living with my mom, 1 living with his dad, and then Aaron and I, my daughter, moved in with who is now my husband, JD. And my drug abuse just began to spiral uncontrollably, and I was using daily. And couldn't even go to a ball game of my son's without going in a porta-john and using. So I worked out with this girl. I was a gym rat. My husband now and I both were. And I worked out with this girl, and I would leave every day for a couple years and thinking, man, I want what she has. And I didn't know what it was. I just really thought what she had was just something I wanted. And then one day, the guy I was living with, JD, came home and said, I'm tired of living this life. We were still living together. We weren't married. He said, I want to go to church. Well, I'd never stepped foot in a Protestant church. I was 30, in my mid-30s. Never knew what salvation was or a personal relationship with Jesus. Didn't know what the 4 Gospels were. I sat in the church actually the first time, and the preacher said, well, everybody knows John 3:16, and my thought was, who's John? You know, I don't know it. Who's John? So I didn't know anything about salvation and Jesus, his personal relationship with Jesus. So he, after about a month, went forward and gave his life to Christ, and I had no idea what he did, but what was crazy is the change in his life. He quit cussing, he quit wanting to drink and snort cocaine, and so I watched this man transform into a new person over the next 6 months, and I wanted what he had, and I didn't really know exactly what that was, but I was starting to hear more and more and learn more and more about this relationship thing with Jesus. And so we went to Myrtle Beach Bike Week every year. And we went down, and it had been 6 months that he had been saved, and we were going to church every Sunday. And I was trying to be sober I made it 24 hours, and I couldn't do it anymore, so I called a buddy of mine at home and asked him to bring me up a bag of Coke, and he did. And I went into the bathroom to do a line, and I felt this really weird feeling come over me. and I actually flushed $200 worth of cocaine down the toilet. So, next day we went home, and next Sunday the preacher was preaching on conviction of the Holy Spirit. And I realized in the bathroom that's what that was. And I had the invitation. I went forward. I had no idea what I was doing. My feet were going. My brain was saying, whoa, what are you doing? And just so happened the girl at the gym was there that Sunday. And I gave my heart to the Lord. And He completely took every desire away from me to do cocaine and to drink. The next day, I went from being a daily user to not wanting it ever again. And that was 17 years ago. My name is Kellie Tew, and I am free.